If you're a business owner that's a creator or a coach, or you just sell products or services through Instagram and through social media, I'm going to tell you about a strategy that I used personally to make 30 grand in a month without any additional content. As someone who used to make tons of content on social media, was posting pretty much very regularly, and got to a point where we couldn't post any content, and yet it ended up being our highest month in revenue yet. Crazy, I know, but this is really what worked for us. So I'll start with kind of just who I am. So my name is Eros. I work with online entrepreneurs, people who have programs, digital products, whatever it is that they're running through social media and they're running through the online digital space, and I help them scale their companies. So essentially, just to kind of paint you guys a scenario, what happened was I was working with a client, and the way we typically made sales was that we were funneling social media people through like our social media posts into a lead magnet, like an ebook. And then from that ebook, we would book them into a sales call. And then from that sales call, after some, nurturing before it, they would either close or they wouldn't close, and they would just kind of be lost in the system, just in our like bank of contacts, right? And that's how a lot of people I see treat their customers or their would-be customers or their leads, right? All they're doing is you're taking like these fresh people that you've got that maybe been nurtured by your social media, and you're trying to reel it in and you're trying to cash in the check early. But what happens is that maybe a small proportion of people that come in like that will buy. We basically got to this point where we were not posting any content for about a month. We weren't able to make new content. We weren't able to post really any other content. And obviously, naturally, you get worried because you're like, yo, this is how like we're making money. Like, how are we going to do this? But what ended up actually happening was that ended up being our highest month in revenue yet. Crazy, right? Now, why was that our highest month in revenue? Through this one strategy that we used, and this one tool that everybody has, but nobody uses. And it is called email. Now, you probably know a bit about email. If you're already like sending newsletters and everything, you already know how to use email, but you might not be utilizing it to the max. Now, I'll give you 3 reasons why email is powerful. First reason why email, and I'm talking about specifically using your email list, is number 1, it's a warm audience. So anyone that opts into your email list automatically already wants to hear more from you, right? Because they're giving you their email for a resource that you gave them. So they already said, this is interesting enough that I want to read it more. Now, I'm going to go into that a bit more, but it's really, really key how warm they are, and you're the one that can control that, right? Number 2 is because it's a private channel. Now, unlike social media where you're posting on Instagram or TikTok, even if someone follows you, there's an unlikely chance that unless they're like a very devoted follower and they like most of your posts, that they're going to consistently always see your posts. In fact, I think Instagram shows like a percentage of followers, right? So with email, you can just send it to everybody. Once you get past spam, once you get past the issues, you essentially can send an email to every single person in your list, right? Like every single person, and everybody will get it. And obviously them opening it and seeing it is a different case, which we'll go into, but it goes to everybody. Unlike social media where you post it and you're like, okay, like a small proportion of people are going to see this that follow me, right? So this actually gives you that private direct channel. Now, obviously, what's the third thing? Third thing is connected to the warm audience, which is that it's trust-based, right? So people are following you on the basis of trust. People are looking to hear more from you because they already trust you, what you've given to them. Let me just say the first thing. The strength of your email list is determined by the strength of your personal brand and the value that you provide. I know we say that a lot, but just think of your favorite creator, right? I'll say for me, one of my favorite creators is Myron Golden, right? Anything that Myron Golden puts out, I will watch. That guy has delivered so much value to me, right? And what does that mean? He's given me so much information and understanding of that information that I didn't have previously, that I just want to get more, So what I do is anytime that he releases something that I can be a part of, I'll join it. He released an email list, I'll join it. I think he did a challenge I joined once, you join it. Same thing, just think about that with your favorite creator. Now, you have to position yourself as valuable, which is obviously what you do using your content, using your personal brand. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do content. I'm saying that if content is your only way of getting leads and it's your only way of converting those leads, like through your content funnel, and essentially anyone that doesn't come through that funnel immediately is lost, you're missing out on a lot, right? So keep in mind, this is not a anti-content video. No, you need content to even build up your email list. It's just that it doesn't have to be your only sort of funnel, so to say. So the strength of your personal brand really determines actually the ease of which you convert from your email list, because people automatically want to hear what you have to say. Now, obviously, the less warm they are, the more nurturing you need to do through your emails. But either way, just focus on having a very strong brand. The stronger your brand is, the easier it is to even convert the content funnel, but it'll be also much easier to convert from the email funnel, which ultimately will make you a lot of money. So I'm just going to be real. When we had the month without content, I just used this one system, and this one system generated us about 30 grand in revenue, right? Now, this was solely just booking direct calls to a 3K offer, and it was with zero content posted during that month, right? Most of the leads that we got came through that content funnel. This was with zero content, just with our email funnel. Now, how do we do that? It was one email a week. This is my sticky system. I call it my sticky email system. One email a week, one clear message on the email, one offer. That's simple. Or you could also say one CTA. Same thing. So one email per week, one clear message, one offer. Boom. Now, I'll tell you how we structure these emails. So when you're structuring an email, there's two things that you need to look out for. There is open rate and there is click-through rate. Your click-through rate is the most important part in this, right? But obviously your open rate needs to be good as well, because if no one opens your emails, no one can click. Like, the open rate is really just dependent on this one thing, and that is your subject line. So your subject line needs to be three things. It needs to be pain-based, it needs to be a pattern interrupt, and it needs to be identity driven. Now, if you catch two out of these three, you're good, right? They all kind of link into each other though, because you can't really write a pain-based email if you don't know the identity of the customer. And you can't really write a pattern interrupt email if you don't know the identity of the customer. So identity is really the main lever in this, right? So if you can write like a good customer avatar, if you can write a good ICP about what your customer is supposed to look like, what they're supposed to think, what they're supposed to say, what they prefer, what they don't like, what they're struggling with, then you can start writing emails according to that. And ChatGPT is a great, easy way to do this. Now, a pain-based interrupt is something easy like, why you keep doing this, or why X deals with X. A pattern interrupt is something like a testimonial, right? Or something that directly presents a solution to your customer's problem. So it could be like, if your customer's a marketer, it'll be like Instagram's algorithms changed to this, or Instagram CEO says this, or TikTok's changed. Like, just things that's a pattern interrupt because it'll matter, right? But all of these tie into the identity-driven aspect. In terms of length, I would keep these normally to about five words, mainly because you don't want it to kind of disappear into the subject line. And then just make sure that when you write the sender, it has your name, or it has whatever name that they clicked on and they're like most familiar with. The next thing is the opening hook, which is the first line of the email. Now, your open rate is determined by your subject line. Your click-through rate is obviously determined by your body. Now, your body really starts with the opening hook, which is the first line in the email. Now, your opening hook really needs to define your email. And the way it does that is by presenting I usually do this by presenting the pain and then contradicting it without giving any more information. So for example, you could say, the Instagram algorithm has changed again. Here's how. Pretty simple, right? So I deliver the really kind of the pitch or the point of the email, the message of it in one line, without also saying what the actual core information is. And that's really to get them reading. Now, the key thing, especially if you're a coach and you're a creator and your goal is to actually like deliver a transformation, which you should be doing anyway, is the body of your email needs to have two things. It needs to have insight and reframe. What does that mean? Insight means that you define a problem of the customer. Now, reframe is that you reframe the customer's perception of that problem. So an easy thing like that, if you're, let's say, offering, I have a friend that offers like coaching for speakers, right? Is you say, you're not actually shy. You're just untrained. Like that could be, the opening hook. But then the insight is that obviously you're not actually shy, you're just untrained. Now, the way I would start with this, I put like maybe a mini paragraph of 3 paragraphs just talking about that struggle, whether normally through an internal reflection. Dan Henry talks a lot about it. It's about, writing an email using your own story, and you incorporate the lesson. But really, I like to use the insight and reframe task. It just works easier for me. But I usually write a story or depict some sort of storytelling of an insight into the person's struggles that I'm trying to show. And then I give a reframe. And that reframe leaves one little gap. And that gap is called my solution. So for example, I would say, you're not shy, you're just untrained. And untrained could be like you didn't actually know that public speaking is not just about being able to be confident, but it's also about the posture. It's also about these things, also about that. And the one way that you really deal with this is that you do, or I list the things that you need to do. Now, the way I'd list that is I'd actually list it as what I offer, right? But you don't want to do it in a sleazy way. You want to do it in like because you're actually offering a solution. So if you're not offering a solution, you got to fix that. But you're offering a solution. So you say, the way I do this is by changing this, that. And then really that reframe then pulls into your CTA. And your CTA is just your clear call to action, which is something that's got to be low commitment with high reward. So instead of saying, buy my program for X amount, or fill out our form and jump on a call with our team to see. No. Usually I would just say is, if you're looking to make these changes, we help people do X, feel free to book a call with my team. Now, even if I have a form, I won't say that I have a form, because the more steps that you outline, the more the person won't be prepared. You want to make sure your CTA is very low commitment, but it's also got high rewards, and it's got to be an invitation, not a demand. First of all, obviously, if you make a demand, you sound salesy. When you sound salesy, people run, right? You want to make an invitation. Some people have to feel like you're doing them a service, because you are. You're doing someone a service. You're providing them your services. So them paying you does not mean that you're not doing a service to them, right? So obviously it'll be like, let's just use the speaker example, right? If you want to turn your journey from, if you want to go from shy to cash collecting, I would never say that, but that's just something I'm pulling off the top of my head. We help other speakers do that, just like we did with XXX, maybe a testimonial. If you don't have any, sure. Feel free to book a call with my team. And you just click that link there. You leave the link, right? Now, you might take them to a form. It's not a problem. People will go through that. And then after that, you just leave a strong close where you say, take care, see you soon. And then you add your name at the end, because you want to make it feel personal. You want to feel like you're writing directly to the person. Now, this strategy that we used with 0 content made during this month at all, just 1 email a week, generated $30K in a month from a single email system. So from 4 emails, so technically around $7K an email. And it was just 1 asset, no social content. Now, why does this matter? I think it's because, like I said, a lot of business owners are just relying on that content to come in regularly and bring in regular leads. And it might, but if you're just relying on the fresh leads that come in, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Your existing email list is untapped potential that's already primed for conversion. Now, it's also your secret weapon, because you don't need to bet on an algorithm. in order to make it work. You just got to structure yourself to work past spam. Now, if you're currently like stuck in the spam realm, then there's a couple ways to get out of that. I've seen like people, let's say, like offer like rewards for just literally moving yourself to like a prime inbox. I've seen people actually, this is a bit costly, so some people don't do this, but I think we once texted people just to remind them. But there's a couple ways to go about that, but it's very unlikely that it's for the majority of your audience. And if not, then what I would simply use is I'd use a standout email with a subject line that you can only use once. So one thing that we use, for example, is I put in square brackets, important. That way, even if it's like in, let's say, promotions, people will look at it and be like, oh my gosh, something dipped to promotions, and they move it over. Now, in that importance email, I might offer like a gift for like putting yourself in the primary folder and say we don't want you to miss out because we're releasing more. Right? It's all about value proposition. No one will turn away something that helps them. Well, no one will turn it away that you want to buy, who you want like to buy your products. Now, like I said, you can turn interested people into buyers as well. So it's just overall, it's a complete cheat code, guys. Complete cheat code that you can use. So that's my advice. I've made this really, really short. I know it's about 15 minutes long, this video, but you guys can really run with this and just take it to an insane level. So wherever you are, if you've got an email list, if you've got even a list of creators and you're not taking an email list, take it. Start giving value, start exchanging it for a list. That list is like a bank that you can withdraw from. And the best thing is that those customers don't have to buy once, they can buy multiple times. I know people that personally I've bought like 3 of their products, right? I'm in their email list. They just keep getting me, but it's because they're so good, right? So please don't think of this as I can be trash and still make money from this. No, you have to be a value deliverer, right? You have to be someone that delivers something that people want more of if they could have more, right? So be that person. Be that business, be that creator, be that coach, whatever it is. So just final call out. You don't need more content. You just need better systems to capture the leads that you already have. And how much cash, just a thoughtful process, how much cash could be in your email list right now? If you have nothing, if you don't have an email list, obviously the answer could be 0, or you could think about the amount of people that have viewed your video that maybe haven't signed up to your email list and think about that maybe. Your inbox is almost to a degree can be more powerful than your feed. So order your email list, or test your first email using this and let me know how it goes. Just collect an email list, whether you're starting out or whether you're already established. Collect, nurture it, convert it using a light CTA. You can do it once a week. That's what we did. All right, guys, I'll leave you here. But let me know how this goes. Send it through to me. Comment down whatever else that you want to see. I want to make more business content just on all things, just info products, just documenting what I've learned and what's worked for me. All right. God bless. See y'all soon.